To our discussion segment to speak on what credit management does to economic development of any nation is the Registrar National Institute of Credit Administration, Professor Chris Onalo. He joins us from Lagos Network Studio. Okay, beautiful. Very good afternoon. Okay, how can credit, well, we're talking about credit management at this point in time, with what we have on ground right now with inflation. Well, we've seen moderation in inflation, but with what we've seen from the inflation data, how can individuals as well as companies now better manage their own credit, use,
The most important thing to emphasize on right now is the possibility of Nigeria being able to produce enough of products, goods and services and flood the local. The most important thing to emphasize on and to flood both local and international market. I think with that, the inflation will significantly come down, bearing all other things. The focus of credit management is to ensure that goods and services taken away, advanced by one party, the producer, to the other person who is in need of it, is paid back on the ground of the fixed promise that, okay, I take it for now and I pay back for it tomorrow, the price of that product and services. What is compelling for the nation right now is what economic model that we must adopt to be able to empower indigenous institutions, SMEs, to produce, and so that Nigeria can have enough, to feed itself, enough to buy, and enough to sell to international marketplace. But the process is what brings about credit management to make sure that when I give you on credit, you have to pay back when the due time comes.
Prof, how does effective credit management support financial inclusion in underserved communities? Looking at Nigeria with the population we have, and at this point in time when the access to credit becomes really something, when you look at what interest rates that the CBN has, put in place to somehow check inflation.
Thank you. The credit system allows for total economic and then financial inclusion. That is to say that a lot of people are outside of the basket of economic activities right now, and it didn't just start today. It's been like that for a very long time. And what the country is looking to achieve is to widening that opportunity for everyone, every Nigerian. And then when we are able to create opportunity for people who has for a very long time been excluded from economic activities, then there is a big prospect for the economy to expand and flourish. And then ultimately that will create competitiveness, which will in turn impact on cost of credit. I want you to also know, and perhaps Nigerians as well, that when we talk about cost of credit, our mind shouldn't go quickly to financial credit, that is loan credit. We have a whole lot of credit outside, when we talk about non-banking sector. We have a lot of people that import goods into the country. We have also domestic enterprises that are producing, and then people are not looking at the side in terms of patronage. But if we are opening the floodgate of credit, buy today and then pay for it tomorrow, then automatically it is going to have very strong impact on the cost of credit, and then the rising interest rate that goes when you look at the banking sector. But as it is, the credit availability in the banking sector is not even very attractive because of the economic climate. Entrepreneurs are asking themselves, the cost of credit, the cost of the interest on the amount of money that they have borrowed, how imperative is it to influence profitability? The answer is no. And as a result, there is skepticism in regard to getting to, applying for a line of credit in order to fund businesses. I think we need to have a very strong institutional framework in place that will encourage the convergence of those who are taking credit to expand businesses, those who are taking credit to grow businesses, and those who are taking credit to start up new businesses. I think we need to institute a very strong institutional framework to support this sector of people looking to have access to credit, as well as the providers of credit. And in this case, the starting point will be availability of enough fund, which need to be put in place by the on the basis of federal intervention, which will ultimately will encourage the lending institutions to begin to give out cheaper credit with amenable conditionalities, which will not stifle the the enterprises that is looking to generate more jobs, more employment opportunities, and in turn building the capacity of the Nigerian workforce when it is about when it comes to managing credit effectively to support economic growth.
Head of National Institute of Credit Administration, how do you align your goals with that of national goals, the renewed hope agenda of somehow achieving sustainable economic growth, most especially with the use of credit, both at micro and macro levels?
Recall that at the beginning of President Bola Ahmed administration, he did emphasize that the major economic blueprint that is coming up for Nigerian people is to introduce consumer credit. And then I think that process has long started and it's gaining very strong momentum. But that singular statement from the president is throwing up a lot of things, because when you talk about the various phases of credit, business credit, trade credit, consumer credit, financial credit, international credit, and credit that is even given by the government to highly disadvantaged people in the economy, it requires a gamut of structure, restructuring both our individual attitude, our national focus, the worldview of Nigerian people that must look at integrity as the core of lifestyle. Because credit, in any economy where credit is the driving force, you have to look at the culture of probity and accountability, the culture of integrity and honesty, and so that people will feel much comfortable to produce goods, and then in the hope that the market players are there, the people who are who are interested in the products you produce can come forward without necessarily having money in their pocket at the point of sales, but can tie up what they earn on a monthly basis with government. But then it takes a whole lot of effort. I've just mentioned one aspect of it which is very critical, that the first thing is to put in place institutional framework that will bring about the meeting point for the givers of credit and the takers of credit. And then we now look at, if I give you credit, can I trust you that on the 30th of the month I will have you pay back, bearing all other circumstances? So it is, and our government has come to realize that yes, the urgent need to move the hardship away from the people, the urgent need to create a program that will ameliorate the consequences of hard economy is very strong on ground. But then when we look at the proper restructuring of reorientating of our mind towards a much more liberal economy that will give all Nigerians opportunity to actualize themselves, then it will take pretty much time and effort to actually put that in place. And this is the advocacy of the National Institute of Credit Administration, and by the act that establishes us, we have to work, whether the government solicit our support or not. The act compels us to produce a blueprint that will give the government a supportive idea to advance the policy that they have put in place for a better economy for Nigerians. So it looks like a new economic system. You know, we have to jettison what has been the practice since the beginning of the independence of this country. We've been, you know, conducting our transactions on cash and carry basis, and now because of the global competitiveness, Nigeria need, you know, to really come up with a very strong economic model that will be people-centered. And once that is achieved, the GDP will rise, and then the high cost of living will come down, but then the integrity and the reputation as a nation, people in the country, you know, to be able to, will now be achieved. You know, I know that the government is so concerned about how to reorientate our culture, how to reorientate our value system, you know, and all these are embedded in a system that is credit, which has to do with character, which has to do with honesty, which has to do with integrity. Your word is your bond, and so that the players in the common credit economy market can trust themselves with little or no stress, really. And then, of course, you look at the legal system in the country in case of any default, either default occasioned by circumstances or default that is deliberate. You know, if you call the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, they will tell you that some of this difficulty inherent in the financial credit is as a result of weak legal system. And so we need a very strong institutional framework, you know, and this has to be really canvassed to Nigerians. The awareness need to be created in order to prepare the mass of Nigerians that, hey, Nigeria is going out for a new national identity to make Nigeria and the Nigerian people participate effectively in the scheme of things in the modern world. Nigeria is a big market. Nigeria has the largest opportunity compared to other nations. We have all that we need to make this country very strong, and very strong indeed, economically powerful. And then that is the heartbeat of democracy, to be very honest. If you have a very strong economy, and a strong economy is tied to the availability of easy, you know, packages, easy system, which is in this case credit system, where people with great idea, people with great, you know, sense of economic value creation can, you know, assess and then employ it down to the system, create more job, create more wealth, give freedom to the people, then governance becomes much easier, and preference for a country becomes much stronger. Today we have a lot of young Nigerians going out of the country seeking greener pasture, and it is because what they are going out for in other country is the exact credit system that they are operating there. And we have people, no matter how bad one is in terms of behavior, character, and conduct, once they cross over, you see quick adjustment because the law there works. And so the point is, we need to really, as an institute, yes, I'm the Registrar and Chief Executive of the National Institute of Credit Administration Chartered, but this is what we are doing. We want to see how we can institute, helping the government to institute a very strong people-centered economic system, making credit available, creating institutional framework, institute a very strong, yes.
Professor, I believe this is an ongoing conversation, and we'll continue it. But for now, I think let's leave it here. Thank you very much, Professor.